Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a new poll found a majority of Americans disapprove of the job Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is doing as health secretary. And Kentucky Educational Television announced they're having to cut some jobs following federal funding losses.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good Friday morning to you. I'm Caroline Mueller. The time is now 6 a.m. and today's date is September 5th. Let's go ahead and check in with meteorologist Megan Desmel for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, it has been so dry this past month and longer, really the whole summer. We're finally seeing some much needed rain. What is to come?
Yeah, we're going to have those rains, which will help with some of those drought-like conditions. Unfortunately, though, we do have some strong to severe storms alongside those rain chances. So we still need to make sure that we are being weather aware as we're going through the next couple hours. But let's break that down, starting off with this morning, though. Nice and clear for most folks, but we do see some chances for some scattered showers, especially as you travel more towards portions of Wayne County and Knox County and portions of Pike. Now, those chances of storms will start to build, especially in those late evening hours, continuing overnight. Current temperatures, though, are sitting in the 60s, and this afternoon you can expect a mixture of the upper 80s and low 90s. So it's going to be a hot day ahead before those storm chances roll through. Caroline.
Sounds good, Megan. Thank you. Eastern Kentucky University police are investigating a reported rape that happened on campus last weekend. 21-year-old Logan Akers was arrested Wednesday and charged with first-degree rape. The incident reportedly happened in the early hours of August 30th inside Telford Hall. According to the arrest citation, Akers admitted to having sexual intercourse with the victim, even though she told him no and to stop. In Louisville, a man is accused of throwing a game controller at a 5-week-old. Stephen Harris is charged in the case. According to his arrest report, officers were called to Norton Children's Hospital on Wednesday for a 5-week-old child with skull fractures and a brain bleed. That report shows the child's mother told police she and Harris got into an argument on Sunday, and Harris picked up a gaming controller and threw it at her. The controller hit the baby in the head. A newly formed bipartisan group is calling on Kentucky lawmakers to end child marriage. The Center for Women and Families hosted the launch of the Rise Kentucky Coalition. That stands for Reclaim Innocence, Stop Exploitation. A group of elected officials and community organizations joined together to better enforce existing laws. In 2018, Kentucky enacted measures to prohibit marriage under the age of 17. But Rise Kentucky says that was just the first step.
We now have evidence that in Kentucky, 8 16-year-old girls have been married in violation of state law. We have records showing 2 17-year-olds married to adults ages 27 and 29. And these are relationships that under Kentucky statute, those minors could not legally consent to. This is not just a technical violation. This is a betrayal of the promise we have made to our children.
The coalition says their goal is to increase visibility on the issue of child marriage and advocate for meaningful legislative oversight and reform. Governor Andy Beshear has a podcast, but we'll have a new podcast on SiriusXM Radio. The Andy Beshear podcast premieres September 10th. His first guest will be fellow Democrat host Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. SiriusXM says that interview will take place in its New York City studios. Before the governor teamed up with SiriusXM, he had guests like actor Steve Zahn, Maryland Governor Wes Moore, and entrepreneur Mike Cuban.
That's the little podcast that could is going national.
That show will be called Andy Beshear Presents. You can find it on SiriusXM Progress. It premieres next Tuesday at noon. A new CBS News YouGov poll finds a majority of Americans disapprove of the job Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is doing as health secretary. About 4 in 10 believe his policies are making vaccines less available, and most people highly disapprove. As for specific vaccines, 77% say the COVID shots should be available to people who want them, whether or not they would get one themselves. And the MMR vaccine, 70% say the government's policy should be to encourage parents to vaccinate their children.
In the latest CBS News poll, a large majority of Americans tell us that when it comes to vaccine policy, they think that government agencies ought to make vaccines more available. And it is a majority of Democrats, independents, and Republicans. Yes, Republicans a little relatively less so, but majority still saying that the government ought to encourage parents to vaccinate.
For more information about vaccine safety, Democrats are much more trusting of the FDA and CDC than Republicans, and Americans overwhelmingly trust their own doctor or medical professionals. Kentucky Educational Television announced they're having to cut some jobs following federal funding losses. The company says it's reducing 22% of its staff by removing 36 positions. KET says this is because of the elimination of federal funding for public broadcasting. Governor Beshear talked about the cuts, saying it's a direct repercussion of Republicans in Congress cutting funding.
It's something that's almost never been done before. After a bipartisan agreement of we'll fund this and we'll fund that, coming back, if you think you have the votes, and undoing that agreement and deciding that you're going to target public media. I hope everybody sees what it is, what it means, and who did it, because I believe in accountability.
In a statement, the CEO of KET says the loss will affect operations throughout the agency, but adds that KET remains as committed as ever to serving Kentuckians across the Commonwealth. The Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas Cowboys kicked off the NFL season last night. This means many people are either trying their hand or continuing a newfound sporting tradition. Madison Carmouche talked to excited fans and a problem gambling official about what this peak in sports betting means for the football season.
On Thursday, the NFL kicked off its 2025 season, and for many football fans, this means a reset for their favorite teams.
The Bengals winning a Super Bowl, of course.
Go Ravens, go Cards.
I always support the Cats in the NFL, so.
Go Cowboys.
Louisville native Tim Robinson says there is nothing better than getting together with friends and watching a good football game.
But just in general, just the fact that football's here, just the baseball's great, but we're ready for some football. Absolutely.
After years of waiting, Kentuckians like Robinson have been able to bet on their favorite sports teams. But Robinson says he leaves the betting to his friends because everyone's not always a winner.
My experiences have not been great. I'm not great at doing parlays. I'm good at the base bet, but when I try to do the parlays, that's where I end up losing.
Cowboys fan Cole Saunders says he is an avid sports bettor. He says sports betting adds an extra layer of competitiveness when it comes to football weekends.
Me and my buddies, almost every Saturday, every Sunday, we put a parlay in together. Usually doesn't hit, but it's fun to watch and to keep up with.
While the win may be worth the risk, Dr. Ronsalind Clark says that people should watch their habits when it comes to sports betting because it can go from fun to irresponsible quickly.
When the fun is no longer there, when you're betting money that needs to be used for rent or groceries or college tuition, then you're getting into trouble.
As president of the Kentucky Council on Problem Gambling, Dr. Clark says if you become consumed by your sports betting results and placing more bets, it may be time to reach out for help.
Bet what you can afford to lose and have a good time.
In Lexington, Madison Carmouche, WKYT.
We're going to see those temperatures in the 60s as you're heading out the door this morning, and we'll continue to see those temperatures warming up heading into the afternoon. Mostly sunny skies will take over during those daytime hours, allowing for a lot of warmth. We'll see high temperatures in the upper 80s, and some folks could hit the low 90s. Now this morning, again, mostly clear, but we are seeing some scattered showers from Wayne County into portions of Knox County. And here's a look at that tee time forecast if you are heading off to the golf course, sponsored by the Stonecrest Golf Course and Top Racer Range. For those daytime hours, it will be warm, but we'll be looking at mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. Caroline.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. President Trump defended Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. after a combative Senate hearing.
When the